everyone, welcome back. Hope you've had a good week and ready for a weekend. Now I know I don't usually come on Saturdays, but I am this week because I wanted to finish off my little mini-series from PAPERCRAFT Society Box 37. Now if you were able to join me for my previous video, my last one, I said I had 2 cards that I was going to do, but what I've done, I've made 1 card and combined the 2 techniques, and you'll see what I mean by that as we go along. So just to add a bit more interest and to give you a few more ideas how you can use some of the elements in this gorgeous box. So we're going to be making today, we're going to do another spinner card, but we're going to be making what I'm calling a surprise spinner card, and you'll find out why in a minute. So without giving the surprise away just yet, let me see if I can pop the box to one side. So there we go. If I just pop that up there a bit higher, you can see it. Now, as you can see, I've made this card up. This is a completely made up card, and I can see that going on the floor, so I'm just going to move it. I just didn't realise how close to the edge of my desk it was. I thought I can see that going right when I need it, tumbling onto the floor. So anyway, back to our surprise spinner card. This is a gatefold card. And so what happens is I'd run out of papers, and try as I might, I couldn't download any of the papers. If you're a member of this box and PAPERCRAFT Society, you can download the papers, but I couldn't download it. It's probably me. But so I thought, well, that doesn't really matter. So what I used, in this case, I used this parachuting snowman to create my own background, and I used Sprinkling a Little Magic, which was one of the stamps within the set. So what happens is I'll show you in a second the measurements, or I'll tell you the measurements and the scoring. It's ever so easy. So easy, even I can do it. So what you do with this one, the recipient will take it out of the envelope. This will go in, this is a 6x6 card when it's all folded up. And so you can put it in a 6x6 envelope, obviously. So when you open it up, it's a bauble card, and you lift it, it spins like that. And they are so much fun. And the first thing I'm going to do is show you how I created this effect. You'll see that that's a different effect from the front. But I'm going to show you, first of all, how we created this effect. It's very, very simple. So I'm going to pop that over there. I'm going to bring the card in that I've already started. So I've used a different image. I'll show you that in a minute, but I've used a different stamped image this time. This is you start off by cutting yourself a piece of card. I've used white card, which measures 12 by 6 inches, and you score at 3 inches and at 9 inches. And I will add all of that in the description down below this video. Please feel free to write it down if you want to, but I will add it in the description box below so that you don't have to keep checking back and listening to the video over and over again thinking, what were those measurements? So I will add it all, everything you need to know to make this card, the measurements, I will add all in the description below. But we're going to get on now, and I'm going to show you how I created this technique, and it's really, really simple. So if I can make a bit of room here. So we'll come to that in a minute. So I'm just going to sweep some of this stuff out of the way. I try to be super efficient and organise everything as I was going to need it, but it doesn't always work out that way. So I'm going to bring in my little palette of colours here, and if I can find it. Oh, there it is. Panic over. I had a bit of a panic there. I couldn't find the stencil, because what we're going to do, again, I'm going to move some of these other elements out the way so that I don't lose them. So we are going to use this stencil. Now, if you don't have this box yet, or you're not a member, you can use any stencil you like, but we're going to use the smallest of the bauble stencils. And what you do is well, I'm going to start off, can you see that? Shall I just squeeze it over a bit? So we'll just have it there so that you've got half of the crown or the top. So I'm just going to grab myself a piece of tissue paper, or it's not tissue paper actually, it's kitchen towel. You can use a blending brush if you want to. I don't have blending brushes. I don't have all these fancy gizmos that other crafters have. I just use whatever I've got around. So I'm going to use my little palette of colours here. And you just pick up whatever colour you want. I'm going to pick up this one, I think. And we're going to finish off this area. So I'm going to put that so that it's more or less half on and half off. And all we're going to do is we're going to rub quite vigorously, but not too vigorously because you might tear the paper, right up into that little gap, and keep rubbing and rub it into the fibres of the card so that it doesn't come off. And then when you peel that away, you lift that away, you're left with an image like that. So we'll do possibly 2 more. So we'll do a full one this time, and we'll use this nice paste up here. These are just some colours that I've got. They're not inks actually. I'll tell you what they are. You'll probably think I'm bonkers if you don't already, but these are actually an old, well, they're not an old, they're a set of eyeshadow. Now I never wear eyeshadow, I never wear makeup because it never stays on for more than 5 seconds. So, and I've got funny skin, so I'm always worried about allergies. So I liked some of these colours, so I use it for my crafting. And we're going to do one more down here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do the top of this little bauble plus the crown, the little bit at the top. So just that bit. What colour shall we use? Shall we do a nice bright red right down there? So you don't need much in this stuff. You don't need much. You can use your inks if you want to be conventional, which most people probably would be. You can use your ink pads to do this, and either use tissue paper or kitchen towel like I'm doing, or you can use your blender brushes if you've got them. Use whatever you've got. So that's how we complete our inside. And to make the aperture, I wanted the aperture quite wide, and I didn't have a circle die that big. But what I did use, I used this. This is the filigree frame that came, or the filigree, well, I suppose it is a frame that came in the set. And all I did, I haven't got the piece with me, but I'll show you what I did. Let me swap that down. So I laid it down like that. I found a pencil, and on the back of my card, I won't do it now because the card's got stamped images on it, I just drew around the outside of my die like that. I didn't actually put it through the die machine, so for those of you that might have dies but don't have a machine or don't want to use a machine, this is how you can use your dies without a machine. And then all I did was I took a pair of sharp scissors and cut it out. So that's how we did that. So we don't need that anymore. So I'm going to put that over there out the way. We've got a bit more space now, that's good. So we'll pop this back here. Now the next thing we need to do, now on my first spinner card, I didn't actually get round to showing you how we put our spinner card together. But before we do that, I'm going to show you one I've finished and one I've almost finished. We've used a different image this time. I'm using the Santa flying his plane. And I just wanted to show you how I've created this image in the middle. I've got some gold glitter paste here. And again, I've got another piece of kitchen towel. And I'm just going to spin that round the other way so it doesn't fall off the edge of my table. So let's just pop that over. So what we do, I'll show you how we do it first. Just rub a little in, and you can either go from the centre out or from the outside in. But if you go from the outside in, make sure you don't go too far. So I'm going to go from the outside and just wipe out, because I want that piece, I don't want any colouring on his beard or in that central part. I want that to be kept white. So all we're going to do, well, I'm going to start from where I want it to start and sweep out like that. So we're going to do that all the way around. It won't take long. So even if you think you've done too much, don't worry, just wipe it out. It's absolutely fine. And my colouring is dry now, so hopefully it won't bleed or it won't smudge. So that's all we do. We just wipe out like that. And that just gives it a little bit more dimension. And if you keep that nice, oops, missed a bit, never mind. And if you keep that white highlight in the middle, it just adds to that ball effect. So we're going to pop that over there as well. We've got even more space now. We're doing good. So I'm going to slide them to one side because we're going to put these together right now. But the first thing I'm going to do is make sure I've got my card the right way around. So I've stamped more Santas in his aeroplane all over the front, but I've kept so I'm going to leave it like that. So if you want to put a mat on the back to write your message, you can, that's absolutely fine. So we won't do that today, but if you want to, that's just an option. So the first thing we need to do, make sure you've got them facing you and the right way round. And then what you need to do is flip one of them over. In fact, where I've, actually that's quite handy because where I've used my marker pens, you can see, now can you see? Yes, you can see his hat, so we can see that it's straight. So now for this, I know in your set you got some invisible thread, but it's not very easy to see on video. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to use a white elastic band or rubber band. I'm just going to find a pair of small scissors, and all we're going to do, we're going to cut it in half like that, or cut it so that it forms a long thread. And down the centre of this thread, or down the centre of this bit here, actually what we're going to do, we're going to cover this with, well, I'm going to use red runner tape. If you want to use double-sided tape or red line tape, you can. I wouldn't use glue because if it oozes out and it sticks, it won't spin. So because my pen has come through slightly, that's fine because it'll show me where to put my spinner element. So I'm going to put that there, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to line that one up so that that's also the right way round, and I'm going to line him up like that. Now if you find, like I've done, that you've not quite, in your haste to get it right, is not quite lined up, don't worry. Just take a pair of scissors. You could do one of two things actually. You could either just mask it out with some paste, or if you're really worried about it, just do what I'm doing. Just cut it round. All it'll do is make your spinner element ever so slightly smaller, but I wouldn't worry about it because it's not going to affect the spinning. In fact, it'll probably add to the effect. So let's just sweep some of this stuff out the way. And over here I have got some, this is this lovely bright orangey red from the pack. And all I've done, I've left it to the same length and I've cut it down to about 1/2 inch. And again, I will add all of this in the description box below. All the measurements you need, I will add. Promise. Now let's just squeeze out just a little bit. That's better. Felt like we were on top of each other. But there we go. Let's do that. So I've got some double-sided tape already on my card. And what we're going to do first, now we've managed to put this thing together, we've done this together on video, I'm going to pop that down there. Actually, it could have gone a bit higher. Never mind. So I'm going to pop that up a little bit higher, not too much higher, but just a little bit. And any overhang we will deal with in a minute. So I have got double-sided tape on the back of this as well, because what we don't want this coming off. So just push it down and give it a good push so that it stays in place. And we'll deal with the overhang when we're finished, because I expect there'll be one on the other end as well. So I've got another piece here for this part. So what you do is you pull, not too much, but pull until your spinner element sits in the middle of your card. Try not to start off too high, because if you have to pull too hard, you might bend the card out of shape, and we don't want that. So hopefully that will stay there until I've taken this off. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter. So we're going to just quickly pull that off. And some of the tape is mildly wider than the strip. So all we do is we just fold it over. Oh, that's just about to come off again, but that's no problem. So we'll just pull that down. Whoops. Right, pull that down there like that. Goodness me. So I'm going to hold that down like that and just, pardon the noise, that was my fingers, not me. So, and then all we're going to do is just snip off any overhang like that. Now, if you wanted to, you could close that up, and that's a perfectly acceptable card on its own. But we're going to go one tiny step further. So if you love stamping, you're going to love this video, or you're going to love this project. If you don't like stamping, you might not be quite so keen. So I've taken one of these sentiments, it's that crazy time of year again, and I've used one of the other stamps to put a little bit of sparkle around the outside, just a bit of detail. But what we're going to do with this one, something that, as it's this crazy time of year, we're going to do something that might look crazy. We're going to cut it in half, like this. Ordinary pair of scissors. You can use a craft knife if you wish, but a good long, strong pair of scissors will do the trick. And I'll tell you why we're going to do that. So what we're going to do, we'll use, well, I'm hoping we'll use red runner tape. If we run out of red runner tape, I've got some glue stick on standby. So we're going to pop that down like that. I was going to do a belly band, but it doesn't really need one, to be honest. If you want to make a belly band, you can, but I'm not going to, not today. And what we're going to do, we're going to line that, the line of the edge, line that edge up, that straight edge of the circle, with the edge of our card, our gatefold. And then we're going to do the same to the other one, to the other side. So let's just slide that out of the way for just a minute, or slide it to one side anyway. And then we'll have some fun. So this is just about had it, so it's just as well we've finished. So that's just about run out now. I'm glad it managed to survive till the end. And then all we're going to do, we're going to just match that back up again until you can read the sentiment. It's that crazy time of year again. Pop it down like that, and you've got a perfect circle. Well, perfect-ish anyway. So what we're going to do now, the last thing to do, is the best bit. Actually, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to turn that over, it's only a piece of rough paper, so that it's a clean background. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the fun part. We're going to wind him up like that. So fairly rapidly. Close it down like that. Now that little mark, you may have noticed, I had a bit of a disaster with the ink, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to let it be. So it's not too much of a disaster actually. I can always put a bit of, if I'm really bothered about that, we can always put a bit of extra stamping on it, but I'm not worried. So now we've wound him up, and what we're going to do, we're going to open that up, lift it, and watch him spin. Whee! Wasn't that fun? So let's do that once more. So I'm going to wind him up just once more. I like the one with the aeroplane. It seems to be sort of more appropriate for spinning somehow. I don't know why I said that, but it just seemed it. So anyway, it gives us an opportunity to use more of our box kit. So we close it up, open it up, and watch him spin. Whee, isn't that fun? So there we go. There is, I'll leave it out. And of course, when you stand the card, it will stand quite nicely. If I tilt it backwards, you will have a better view. So he will stand up like that. So there is our surprise spinner card. Now, if you make one of these for your loved ones and your friends and families and pop them in an envelope, what you do is you wind it up first. Before you put it in the envelope, you just wind him up first. Put him in, slide it, close it up, slide it in the envelope, because all the time that's like that, he can't unwind himself. So slide him in the envelope, and then when they open up, they'll get a lovely surprise. And of course, on the back, or actually, I was going to stay on the back, there's not much room on the back. What we could do, maybe even on the inside, we could make a little panel here to write our message. So, but all you'd need there is about a 2.5 by 5.5. Put it there so that we've got a bit of a border, and write your message. So there we go, there is our surprise spinner card. I'm going to leave it open so you can see it like that. I hope you've enjoyed that, and that you make your own, with whether it's with PAPERCRAFT Society Box 37 or whatever you happen to have in your stash. And I will see you again on Tuesday now, and we'll be back to our regular projects. Mind you, there's nothing regular about my projects, they're all different, aren't they? So I'll be back on Tuesday, so do pop back and see what I get up to then. And if you're enjoying these videos and you haven't subscribed yet, if you have, thank you so much. But if you haven't, please do hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell, and you'll never miss another video. So there's lots more to see, including some very interesting techniques that I've discovered, which I'm going to be putting my own twist on and showing you my versions. So there we go. So I'll leave you there for now. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Have a fantastic time, and I will be back again on Tuesday. And in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Take care, everybody. Have fun. And as always, happy crafting. Bye bye for now.